We're not recording.
Can I have a handout?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome,
yeah, so-
everybody, to the Newcomers Academy, class number 8, which is Martial Arts Studies. I was really hoping we'd have a few more people here that are on the martial art path, but we are recording. Thank you very much, Mr. Koenig of Covina. I really, really appreciate you and Razio coming in and filming. And so everybody hopefully will be able to see this, so good information will be had. So one of the things that we have been teaching and going forward with our newcomers is trying to fill in the blanks of things that sometimes they don't just automatically absorb becoming newcomers. We've taken y'all to events. We've taken y'all on camping trips. We have talked about Laurelette Path and the Pelican Path. We have done a lot of talking. We have armored you guys up, and we have had you do rapier, thrown weapons, archery, and chivalric fighting. But one of the things that I know that we haven't really done is we haven't really talked about why we do these things. Why do we put on that heavy armor, and why do we go out there every week and do what we do? And what is chivalry, and why is it important to us? Why do we have rapier in Onsteora? And why is it the lifeblood of everybody that's been in this kingdom for so long? And we have new and open horizons with our archery areas. We have thrown weapons. These are all things that have happened over the last couple of years. We've had archery for a very long time, but now archery is a peerage, and we have
Missile pursuits are a peerage.
Missile pursuits. We have the Order of the Mark, and so they finally get to stand in their own. And I would like for y'all to hear a little bit about that as well. Not that everything is about a path, but I feel like if you really want to belong and you really want to understand why we put our armor on and take the field every week, every month, and every war, you have to kind of understand the fabric of where your soul becomes involved and why it's important. And so with that said, I would like to begin with Sir Robert Debray and have him speak to us about just about the art of chivalry and heavy weapons.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sir Robert Bray. I was asked to come in and give a small little, be available for discussion about the chivalric arts in the SCA. And the question that was presented to me was, why is chivalric fighting so important to the SCA in general? And my simple answer is that, well, it's where the SCA was born. The very first event, the very first tournament was a tournament based on the tales of King Arthur and the fantasy world and that surrounded all of that, and the whole romanticized vision and version of the medieval period of time. So that's been carried forward since 1965. And you'll find that a lot of us that fight in heavy and other aspects of the SCA feel that calling to the most romanticized version of that vision. The Errol Flynn's and the swashbuckling days for Rapier, for example, or for us, Ivanhoe and King Arthur and the Green Knight. All these tales led most of us to come to the SCA and to fulfill these dreams of being able to put on the armor and be a knight in shining armor, be the savior, be the person who, just wins the day. Everybody has a different reason for being here, but my goal come true. Having said that, though, I mean, everybody's path is different, and not everybody has to have that path. They don't have to pursue that ultimate goal. You can just put on armor and fight just for the heck of it and the fun of it. Because ultimately, the kernel of our community is brotherhood and comradeship and teamwork and being able to achieve goals as a group, not just as an individual. So that really kind of drives quite a number of us in the chivalry community. So we're training to fight, we're trying to learn how to be better for team members. For bgwlad has a war company, for example. So we want to try to train ourselves so that we can be effective members in that war company. As far as the path to it, there's, like I said, there's a lot of different ways to approach that. You do not have to take on any type of a relationship within the SCA to achieve anything. I know a lot of people who have been knighted that were never squired. There's a lot of people who refuse to be squires who will just fight for the love of the game. So there's no need to feel like you're obligated to find some kind of a relationship like that. But also, having said that, if you want to become a knight within the society, if that is something that you want to pursue, there is sort of an unwritten path of doing that, and that is finding somebody to train with that you kind of mesh with. And I have to really want to emphasize this because you really want to find somebody who you do mesh with. This is going to be a long-term commitment, and you want it to be with somebody who you like, somebody you respect, somebody that will respect you in return. Don't just find the most active and the most convenient fighter to see about becoming a squire to. Some knights do this differently. They will take a student for a year to see how that will work out, to see if the people mesh together well. And then others would just say, well, you're going to be a squire. We're just going to do it. We're going to hit the ground running. And, there's a lot of different equations that go into that as far as that's concerned. But from my personal perspective, taking a squire means that my commitment to that person is that I am going to make sure that they are ultimately recognized for who they are. A lot of times people are already have those elements of knighthood within them. They just need to have it brought out. And so what we try to do is have that person go through and meet other people, meet other fighters, go to events. Winning tournaments is not necessarily important. Obviously it helps, but you want to be able to help your student, your squire, shine to their best abilities. And so your whole job is to be their advocate and to be there to support them and to make sure that they move through the events, the society, the politics of it, so to speak, in a manner that shines on the spotlight on them in the best light possible. Does anybody have any questions?
What is the award structure in the armored combat path?
So most of your award of arms are things like the Sable Talon, and then you've got the grant level award, which is Centurion. The Centurion is somebody who's been recognized for their prowess on the field with multiple weapon styles. They're maybe leading a small unit on the field in a melee. Also service. They are perhaps an officer within their group, helping people get armor, helping train them, getting them to events. And then ultimately, knighthood is the preeminent award for Chivalric Combat.
You guys have any other questions? All right. You want to move on to the rapier side of things? So,
Thank you very much.
good order of peerage. Order of defense goes next.
So I put together a little handout because, once again, mostly to get my thoughts together. This is more about kind of the mechanics of getting involved in Rapier. And we don't need to go through this line by line. But basically, I'm Danya Nadia Renthaner. First off, apologies.
You haven't met her already.
Yeah, if you haven't met me already, I'm a rapier fighter in bgwlad. And as Sir Robert said, we all have, in tabletop games, it's called like a class fantasy of, you want to be this kind of thing. You want to act in this role. It overlaps a little bit with the ideas we have about persona and how we want to develop as a person within the SCA. And your martial path can be part of that. There are entire books and blog posts and fireside chats dedicated to the topic of like what is chivalry, but I think Sir Robert put it very nicely and succinctly. You want to be that guy who is you're there to help people and to help move your community forward and help solve problems essentially. And part of the Rapier path is it starts as the same. We have the same award of arms level award as our other martial paths, which is the Sable Talon. But then our grants are the Blade of Merit, which, similar to the Centurion, is given for not only prowess but also leadership within the community. There's a little bit less of a focus on leadership within the context of melees or group battles, but they should be able to be teaching, should be able to get people going from their first steps to get started in this martial discipline in rapier fighting. And then our peerage is the Order of Defense. But rapier in our kingdom is culturally much more shaped by a different order, which is the Order of the White Scarf, which is currently a non-armigerous award. It doesn't include, it doesn't come with any additional precedents. It doesn't necessarily add anything to your arms, anything special about that. You gain access to a title, but the thing about it is it was the premier rapier award for a long time before the development, before the Order of Defense was announced at the society level. So the nice thing about the peerage is that it's recognized in all kingdoms equally, has equal precedence in all kingdoms. It's why it's a big deal that the missile community now has a peerage to recognize their efforts. But the missile community hasn't had that for a long time, and rapier did not have that for a long time. In the very beginning of rapier fighting in the SCA, this is in the early 80s, there were a few places around the society that were trying out including fencing as an activity. But in Onsteora, it started with Don Tyvar Moondragon and Master Robin of Gilwell, and their compatriots at their university in Houston, and they spent a lot of time and effort to train up a community to show that this was a worthy fighting pursuit, that it was fun. Damn it, like, because that's why we do what we do, because it's fun. They let us play with swords. But it took a long time for this activity to get more accepted in the community, and there are many times, many royal reigns where it almost died entirely, where it wasn't allowed at events. There wasn't support from higher level officers. It was difficult to get traction sometimes. But there came an event where I don't want to mess this history up. This is the part I should have written down. I'll give a shorter version. Essentially, one of our queens, Tessa of the Gardens, decided to have her champion be a rapier fighter. And this was a very, very big deal because it was royal support and buy-in for the rapier community, for a community that did not have a lot of support otherwise, and was relegated to, the Sunday of the event, or, their list field was off in the corner or difficult to find, not getting a lot of support. And so by having her champion be a rapier fighter, it started a tradition of bonds between rapier fighters and the queens of Onsteora. And she was also the first to start the she was the one who gave a scarf to Tyvar to start the Order of the White Scarf. And correct me if I'm wrong, I wasn't here for that history.
I don't remember
Thank
that
you,
part.
Sigrid.
You are correct.
And so by putting this favor of hers onto Don Tyvar, this ultimately became the Order of the White Scarf. And it essentially was considered peer-like in our kingdom. And the idea of the white scarf as a symbol of rapier excellence and teaching and commitment to supporting, in our kingdom at least, supporting the queen and her endeavors and building up the community and the legion of swashbucklers, as it were. This spread to other kingdoms in the form of the Treaty of the White Scarf. So there's several other kingdoms that had orders of the White Scarf, or a similar equivalent order. I think in another kingdom it's the Bronze Ring, in North Shield. There's some others that they like the idea.
Yeah.
And, pardon?
There's ogres.
Yes.
The Golden Rapier in the East.
Thank you. Yeah. But this was something that happened kingdom by kingdom, like kind of at an individual level, sort of like in each individual state adopting a law about it. So the Order of the White Scarf, especially in Onsteora, still holds like a very important place in our rapier culture and the culture of white scarves being a soldier, a scholar, a courtier, having the skills and prowess on the fighting field, having the knowledge and teaching capability to grow the community, and having and demonstrating the aspects of chivalry, of being better than we were before, ultimately, is still very important to the order, and a lot of that has is still reflected in the Order of Defense, but the Order of Defense is society-wide, so it has a little bit not as regional of a culture. They both take formal students that are indicated by essentially red versions of the white insignia that the Order of Defense and that the Order of the White Scarf use, very similar to squires and knights. White scarves take cadets. Order of Defense, they're generally called provosts, but it's not like a standardized term. I think. What else? I'll go here. As far as the path and getting involved, it's similar to the chivalry path. Just come be a part of the community. If you find somebody that you mesh with really well and want to be their student, you don't have to start a formal relationship of any kind. It can just be somebody who is looking out for you and knows how to give you feedback or translate what somebody else said that didn't make sense into something that makes sense to you. Somebody to be your advocate, somebody to help you through rough times with your fighting or getting to events. They can be a great support. What else do we want to mention here? The rest I've got on here, very basic stuff in the handout, just kind of reminders for folks. Talk to people, even if they're not your formal teacher. Talk to your opponent, get feedback from each other. We're here to play with swords and have fun and at least for me, part of having fun is figuring out that mechanical thing that I wanted to do. You know, that way to get around somebody's guard, that new way to hold my stance so that, you know, I can defend from a different angle if I'm fighting certain fighters or something like that. It's, you know, a lot of times it's a puzzle that we want to solve, and it's a puzzle we can solve collaboratively. Is there anything else that you want
Oh,
to
no,
mention?
I think that is one. I think you both have done wonderful. I would like to ask if you have
Yeah.
extras of these, if you could bring them to Pip on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that,
We can also drop it in the folder, the shared folder.
yes, we can drop it in the shared folder. And then I thought I'm going to put out an announcement when I get home this evening about Thursday, and that you will have some of this information. Will you be at fighter practice on Thursday? And that way maybe we can get them to watch the video on Wednesday, and then if they have any questions, but thank you very
They
much.
can
That
reach
was
out to
very
us, yeah.
insightful, and I really, really appreciate that.
If I can, real quick, I need
Yeah.
to pause the recording and do a quick setting change on my camera.
So to follow up, moving into missile activities, my name is Baroness Winsliana Leigh Chandler. I am an Arctor, and
I'm Baron Gavin. I'm also an October.
so Arctor gets that. But so as far as the missile pursuits, and the reason of why it falls back and piggybacking off of both of these two. There's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of connection between the three, and that's why this is all being handled in one class. It gets back to the romanticized version of it when you look at, you know, Robin Hood, and if you look at the Battle of Agincourt, archers make a difference, and it's fun. Damn it! And it's one of those. It's fun. This is supposed to be fun, but it's with archers. You can never have enough archers, and an archer can make and break a battle.
Absolutely.
With the missile communities, there are 4 different pursuits you can do. 2 of them are martial-based, where armor is required, and 2 of them are more target-based, where you're not required to have a full set of armor.
So as far as the martial side with full armor, there's melees and it's combat archery. So it's combat archery and siege. We would be in full armor, same armor requirements as the heavy fighters, but you're out there on the field with the heavy fighters, supporting the war company, supporting the kingdom's army, and either with combat archery equipment or with siege engine. Siege engines, if you've ever seen them, they could be large trebuchets, they could be big, large ballistas. They are the ones that are usually the ones taking down the doors of the castle to let the army in. They're the ones taking out the
archers on
yeah.
the crenellations.
It's usually the first thing to be able to then bring the army in. The combat archers we're the snipers. I'll make it really simple. We're the snipers. And one thing you will hear in any melee battle with combat archery is they're always wanting the archers. You will hear them yell for the archers. We need more archers. We need more archers. They always need more archers. Because if you have both lines of the army facing each other, and you have this one really good, awesome sniper from, you know, just picking off the commanders and confusing the rest of leaving the other side without leadership, it can change a battle very quickly. And so it's a whole lot of fun. We did not bring any siege, obviously, any siege things to show you, but for combat archery, you can either shoot handbow or crossbow. Yes.
Do we have siege weapons in Gringoland?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're working on it.
We
We have
are
siege
working.
authorized individuals,
Yes.
but not an actual siege weapon, but we're building one.
I just know
Yes.
for playing for a long time, each group is responsible for having their own if they have it. And I know at one time, Bringalot or Bjornsburg, we had 4. We took them to Gulf War
Yeah.
a couple years in a row.
It
and
can
was
be a group.
amazing.
It can be the branch that owns them. It could be a household that owns the siege engines, or an individual. The problem is then you get down to storage and
who's gonna take
transport and all that. So there is the cumbersome part of the siege, but then there's also a lot of fun of getting to shoot siege engines. As far as combat archery, it's a lot easier to transport than a siege engine. So you can use a regular hand bow, like a recurve or a long bow, There are poundage limits and that kind of thing. And you can also use crossbow, and then you can shoot with those. So those would be out of the hand bow. This is what you would, bolts is what you would shoot out of a crossbow. They do hurt. They do leave pretty bruises.
Why are the ends so big?
Why are the ends so big? So you have the rubber tip one. This usually should be what's impacting an armor bit. Sometimes, but also things bounce, and so once it bounces off a shield and flies into say a crowd of fighters, you don't want the other end going into anything to hurt. So this is called an APD. It's an anti-penetration device. Yes, that's actually what it's called. And so it's to keep it from penetrating the armor pieces and
It's slightly larger than the 1-inch gap on most helmets.
Yes.
So it keeps it from penetrating the helmet or any other vital piece of armor.
So, and there's a whole lot of fun when you're, working with the war company and working with the Army, and you take somebody out and you're just giggling from the background, because it's like you can do so much, inflict so much with a quiver full of arrows, taking out, especially if it's a resurrection battle and the same fighters keep coming back and you just keep taking them out. Yeah, they get kind of irritated. But no, it can really, we always need more archers.
So one of my favorite stories was at Pennsic. I was Royal Hunter at the time, which is the premier archery championship for the kingdom. And His Majesty was, it was a bridge battle. So there was these lines of tubes set up and fighters engaging on 3 or 4 different bridges. And he spots the king in the middle, who is on the opposite side of us, up there billowing out commands and orders and stuff. He's like, I want him dead. Pull out my crossbow, shoot him right in the center of the chest. and like those moments, it's just little moments like that are just what makes the dream so amazing, because you can basically follow the orders of the crown and change the direction of the entire battle, because now the center bridge didn't have the leadership anymore, and we were able to advance and take out that entire bridge.
And they'll come and tell you. I had a commander come and find me after a battle. He came over and he's like, you shot through shields this close and got me right here, but that was a great job. They will come and tell you, and it's the best feeling ever, and it will totally make you roar, and it's so much fun. And that's just the melee side of it. That's the heavy fighting. We do have static targets as well, so we can shoot siege engines into an open field, hitting targets. We can do the same we have for combat archery. We also have bobs, which are basically like board cutouts of what a fighter is, and you can do static shoots as well. It's not just shooting our friends and causing bruises.
So to kind of transition into that,
yeah,
there's also a inter-kingdom scoring for really everything now except for Siege, and we're currently working on Siege. Combat archery, it's called ICAC, Inter-Kingdom Combat Archery Scoring System. Competition. So, and you set up the bob and you get different points for shooting the head or the torso or the target in general, and those scores are recorded and kept on a website, Inter-Kingdom. So not only you're competing with yourself for you're increasing in skill, but you're also competing with others throughout the known world. For target archery, there's ICAC, which is Inter-Kingdom.
It's Inter-Kingdom Archery Championship, yeah.
Which is basically the same thing for target archery, which involves a set of targets set at 20, 30, and 40 yards with a time 20 yards to get off as many arrows as you possibly can. And you can do up to 3 per day, I think.
Yes. Well,
You can submit up to 3 per day. I think you can shoot up to 5, I think is what the setting is. So you can pick your top 3, but you have to say that this is one not to do it. So with that, archery as a whole has been declared basically the gateway activity into the SCA. A lot of people find the SCA an archery practice.
Yeah.
They come in, they like, oh, this is really fun. I like doing this. What other stuff do you offer? So getting archery back at bgwlad is something we're really looking forward to.
Yes.
Because it is a way to get people interested, involved from within the community, because we can translate people in from modern like Boy Scouts and other scouting activities where archery is a prime skill that they get taught. And we've actually recently included scoring for thrown weapons. We did the basically similar to ICAC is the inter-kingdom scoring for thrown weapons this last year. I was working with John York up in Central Texas on getting all of those published last year while I was Kingdom Missile Marshal.
Anything else you want to say about targeting from?
That's about it.
You should be familiar with thrown weapons if you've been coming to our practices. We have thrown
Yeah.
almost every week. Zakari does a fabulous job of making sure that we have thrown whenever it's available. Soon, thanks to one of our newcomers, Cornelia, we will also be having archery as well.
So target archery process.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's so exciting.
So the question,
So
is there any combat archery in Rapier?
yes, technically by the rules there is. There is combat archery for Rapier as well, where you're out there doing combat archery with Rapier fighters. There, it is in the rules. There is an authorization for it. It is not commonly done in practice.
It needs to be allowed for under a particular, like, for each individual battle scenario.
Right.
It needs to be explicitly, like, allowed for.
And also then also the equipment is adjusted down as well. But it's still, you're still having to meet the same armor requirements as whatever the other combatants are on the field. As far as the award structure and the path, for obviously the award of arms is the same as the other martial art activities. It's the Talon. Similar to the Queen's Rapier, there's also the King's Archer, which is the non-armigerous cording. For the grant level is the Order of the Ardor. They can take students that are Arcarius. So the Ardor, you see them with one white bracer with for our kingdom, is the Black Star. So if they have one white bracer, that's the Ardor. It looks like this. I didn't just do that. Okay, I realized what I did when I did it. They're students. No, it's all good.
That's your bar.
Okay, sorry, derailed.
Play with a photo.
It's all good. It's all
It's
good.
archery now.
Okay, yeah, I had to. Sorry. Okay,
So
there's
one white
students.
bracer.
One white bracer is an Arctor. If you see a red bracer with the Black Star, it's their students in Arcarius.
Is it always worn on the left arm?
Well, no, it depends on the archer.
If
So,
they're
if,
right or
so,
left
so
handed.
if you're, it depends on what you shoot at. So if you're a right-handed shooter, yeah, you're gonna have it on this arm. If you shoot the other way, it's gonna be on this.
It's on your dominant.
It's the actual. It's a useful regalia. So it actually
Ours just marks us as a target.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then now we have the new peerage, which is the Order of the Mark, which is represented by two white bracers.
Right.
So one white bracer is grant level, two white bracers is the peerage. They've now taken, you want to tell the Consior decided?
Consior decided for students, they've deviated from every other thing out there, is they've gone with a purple belt for the students. We don't know exactly why. But that's what they decided.
And Mark's my favorite color.
It's purple.
It's purple.
The marks have spoken.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
And they're going to be called the Esperance.
Yes. You're an Esperance if you're a student of the mark. And Onsura.
Which is loosely translated to the hope, hope and hopeful. So it's very appropriate. We're very excited about the new peerage. We have the premieres have already been made, and there's additional ones that have been announced that are being made in the next few events. So you'll be seeing a lot coming out from the Order of the Mark.
Yeah, those were cool.
Really cool elevations. Really excited about the new peerage.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes. And like I said, we can always use new archers. And it's, yes, you're supporting the war company. Yes, you're supporting the army. It's also very much an individual pursuit. It really is. I mean, even when you're doing tournaments, if you're shooting a target archery tournament and you're on a line with 20 other archers, yes, you're competing against the other archers, but you're also working on improving your own skill. And so it's, and all depends on who gets lucky that day, really. And I try to tell people that. I mean, yes, there is skill, but all it takes is a gust of wind and you lose a tournament. So there is a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of skill, but it's the building of that skill. And that's why you have the paths to help people. And it's already been touched on of why to take and reasons to take to have that student mentor relationship. But it's also to help you through that path and to slowly work on the increase in skill as well. If you have any questions, please. Whether it's arch, missile, heavy, rapier, there are lots of talent in the Barony.
I'm going to segue off the one that hasn't been presented yet
Oh, which one?
and hasn't really been addressed.
Go for it.
There is a large equestrian community within the SCA. They're not really represented at the same level because they don't have a peerage yet. They do have, you can get a talent in equestrian. They have the Golden Bridle, which is, I think, the championship, and then the Golden Lance, which is the grant level award. There's a surprising lot of people that do equestrian. It is a very expensive hobby on top of everything else. You do mounted games, which requires you to have all of the heavy armor to do mounted fighting. There's also the games where you have to have swords and spears and all the stuff to do the actual
Mounted games.
games where you run through the different scenarios. There's also all the way up to SCA legal jousting. So, in fact, at our fall event, if we can get it arranged, we're going to have a jousting tournament by SCA members come out and actually demonstrate that aspect of the SCA as well.
Yeah, thank you.
We got one of our
And you have
newcomers.
to have a
that's-
horse.
And you have to have a horse.
And you have to have a horse.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have one of the newcomers right now. He was posting in the Discord. Who's getting there soon?
Nice.
I didn't even mention mounted archery, which is kind of a segue between
No,
the
I
two.
know, that's the two.
So you can actually do
Yeah.
target archery from horseback,
Yeah,
which is another.
It's my end goal.
It's just
It's
super
another
cool.
other
It's
thing. Yeah, that's my
totally
end goal.
super cool.
class a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is because there's just not that many event sites that we can have equestrian at. So you'll find that at the event sites where we can have equestrian, you will always have a huge draw. Gulf Wars always has a huge draw to the equestrian there as well. And so if you have the opportunity to go to an event and they have equestrian, it's always a good idea to find your way over there. Be mindful of the animals. You can't just walk up to them and approach them. They belong to somebody. But do go and ask questions and you'll see some wonderful things. So,
To give you an idea of how scarce it happens, our current bgwlad equestrian champion has been sitting since 2019.
Oh.
We had COVID in there as well, but it's
Interesting.
just a lack of sites.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to rectify that at our fall event because we're actually able to get a site that we can do
Nice.
equestrian.
we
That's
do
cool.
have a little equestrian group in Greenville.
We
Yes,
do.
we do.
We're trying.
No, they exist.
They practice
They've
on Sunday. Yeah.
been around.
Yeah. Any other questions about martial activities? Anybody?
Basically,
I made my
martial
plans clear, so.
a martial art activity is any activity that requires a martial.
Yep.
Yes.
Shameless plug. See, I want to get authorized. I want to be a marshal. I assume the process is similar for a lot of the pursuits. Can y'all speak a little bit about how folks go through the authorizing process, or how they get started, maybe?
For
this class.
for the different disciplines, to become author, there's various levels of authorization. So for heavy, for rapier, you have to be an authorized fighter. So you have to go through that authorization. So an authorizing marshal has to compete. They have to authorize you to have a fighter card to compete, where they should have been proven to be safe on the field for whichever field you're fighting. From there, you have the marshals who are actually marshaling the field, marshaling the target archery. It doesn't matter which field it is. And then from the marshals, they have to be authorized as marshals. So you have authorizing marshals. So you have fighter authorization, marshals, and then authorizing marshals. The easiest way is to ask. We are authorizing marshals for siege and archery and combat archery
And thrown weapons.
and thrown weapons.
And heavy.
And heavy. For rapier,
I'm not actually an authorizing marshal.
Well,
I should probably change that.
yeah.
Authorizing marshals, Elizabeth, Her Grace, or Her Excellency,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
is an authorizing Rapier Marshal. John Drake is an authorizing Rapier Marshal. Don Santiago is an authorizing Marshal. Master Pug, but he's going to be moving soon. So we have options.
We did notice on the heavy front, we don't have as many authorizing marshals as we used to. So I think he's going to work on getting authorized.
I'm an authorizing.
You're an authorizing marshal. I'm an authorizing marshal. Being John Drake's an authorizing marshal.
Yes.
So if
And-
you're
and
going
Pug.
to an event such as Gulf Wars, can you just show up at Gulf Wars and fight?
Gulf
No.
Wars is a little different.
Not unless you're authorized.
Good question.
You have to be authorized before you go to war.
Well, and typically if we're gonna have a war event, like in the 1 to 2 events leading up, they'll put out, hey, if you wanna be authorized for Gulf Wars, if you're gonna be authorized for Pensic, if you're gonna be authorized for BAM, they'll say, you need to go to this one because we're gonna have melees if you wanna get authorized.
So now I'm going to do a shameless plug for Sable Soldier, which is an authorizing practice held in February. I'm not sure where the site is this year, but it's usually up on the north side of Dallas or the east side of Dallas. So there you can go. It's heavy focus, but it's also archery. So you can get authorized for Gulf Wars at that event. There's a lot of great classes too. Spear classes, tactics, shield wall tactics, command structures classes. A lot of really awesome classes for heavy fighting.
How long does your authorization last?
I believe it's 2 years for most and 3 for some. Depends on the weapons. Each weapons on the Chiv side has different time frames for marshaling, authorized. So, for example, spear I think is 2, heavy weapons is 3. I'm not sure what archery is. So,
It's three.
yeah, so.
They just changed.
Oh,
Did they change it to 4?
Some moved to 4.
On society level, they
like
capped it.
yesterday.
Society kept it at 4.
Okay, so it's probably good to have a uniform across the board.
And renewal, if you've been participating and continuing to participate, renewal is a simple, just couple clicks of a button. It's if you've had a lapse in participation and you're trying to come back to say fight again, then they make the authorizing marshal may want to run you through some scenarios first before they just reauthorize you.
Do you have to be a member to be an authorized combatant?
No,
I don't think so.
you do not require to be a member to be a combatant.
And more specifically, you do not have to be a member to be authorized. If you're an authorizing marshal, somebody who makes more marshals, you do have to be a member because that requires a warrant from society, and one of the requirements for that is having a membership.
That's right.
So like getting started, you don't have to worry about your membership. But when you want to get to the point where it's like, aha, yeah, now I want to make more, then you do need to have a membership.
Yeah.
In the hold office.
So if you're planning on going to a war, I highly recommend, say your pursuit is heavy fighting. I highly recommend doing research and becoming a Rapier Marshal so you can relieve some dons and mods who would be stuck marshaling and allowing them to get out and actually have fun and actually fight. That's why I am a authorized marshal in heavy and rapier and siege and pretty much everything I can, just so somebody who is more skilled than me can get out there and fight the day. Or if it's something that I want to do also as well, I can pair off with another marshal and say, hey, I'll take these 2 rounds, and then you can jump out and take the other 2, just so more marshals is always better.
It takes a lot of marshals to keep melee safe and functional.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions?
Oh, no, wait, no. I just saw when you were both in. I'm sorry.
Anything else that you want to make sure we
Cover.
waxed poetic on?
A little switchy.
I think you guys did a very good job. I knew that you guys would be able to bring the information that needed to get out there, and I appreciate you all very much. I appreciate the questions. These were some absolutely excellent questions. One thing I'd like to remind everybody is that Thursday is the Tiny Tournament, and so it's at the VFW. This is an in-garb event. So
you've got it.
bring your garb, wear your garb,
We have at least
and
one
let's have some
person
fun.
that packed their Penzig garb. Santi
And
claims he has no clothes.
I might be pulling a
yeah,
tunic out of the
we might
20-year
need to
stash.
contact Gold Key and just have them bring some stuff.
Yeah.
But
That'd be a bad idea.
I know that it's last minute before everybody leaves for Pennsic, but I promise everybody will have a good time. And I know that the newcomers are very excited about fighting in a tournament and participating, so I'm very excited about that. We will have a break in our newcomers academies while Pennsic is happening, and I believe that our next one will be
August 11th.
Sorry, I should have had this on my head, but
It's August 11th.
August 11th will be August 11th, and it is about. I know what it's about, but I don't want to say it wrong.
Being extra.
General volunteer opportunities. Yes. We will have a couple speakers for that, and they will talk about ways that you can get involved that aren't like being an officer and doing all the really serious things,
helping
but
with the
ways
fence.
that you can be support crew for the Barony and for events and stuff like that without feeling like you're giving your life up for it. So, which is always important when you're a newcomer, because you never know exactly how much of your life you have available for a while before you're all in. So, yeah, and that's really what I needed to let y'all know. And I appreciate you guys all very much. Yeah.
Your Excellencies, do you know when the next Hell's Gate tiny tourney is? If someone can't make it to our Ringalot.
It's in our notes.
How does it help?
Well, the business meeting notes. It's within 2 months, and he's gonna pull it up, and we'll tell you.
Okay.
Also, a shameless plug for Hotter Than Hell's
It's in
Gate.
September.
Hotter than Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
Hotter than Hell's Gate.
And next weekend is Heraldic and Scribal boot camp, retreat boot camp in Loxoya.
September.
Hopefully there won't be any
Hell's Gate
combat.
tiny tourney in September.
There will not be any combat. There will not be any combat. It will be all heraldry. And it's a no garb event. So if you just don't have something to do and you want to pop by, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about heraldry.
Don't forget Hotter Than Hell's Gate. It's August 9th. I'm coming back early from Penzig just to go.
I'll be going as well.
Me too.
It's like, how often are you going to hear this for an SCA event? Fairy wings are encouraged.
Yes.
Oh.
The theme, it's Midsummer Night's Dream. So lean into your fairies, lean into your whimsy.
What?
For Hotter Than Hell's Gate. Yes.
How did I miss this?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything.
Said, but it's not like
Valgard, I need
Yeah,
wings.
we can make this signal louder.
Yeah.
I know, it was a lot of fun. I didn't have wings then either. I need wings.
Any other things for our asynchronous viewers?
I think we're good.
We're good? Awesome. Then I'm gonna stop the recording.